How do you find information that a company is providing about their historical performance? Of course, you can look at the financial statements that they release to the public. You can look at the income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement. Those are great sources for information. But if you want more color, if you want more detail on the operations and how the company actually generated that financial performance, you need to know a couple of sources of data. And I want to show you two sources. First, I'm going to start off with just doing a simple Google search. Let's take a look at Dunkin' Brands. And in this Google search, I'm just going to put in the ticker symbol for Dunkin', which is DNKN, and I'm going to Google IR. IR stands for Investor Relations. And you can probably just click I feel lucky because it's easy to find this website. It's the first search item here. And what we can see is that this is the investor relations sites for Dunkin' Brands. And it provides a lot of information. There are a couple of sources that I really like. Over here in events and presentations, you can see that it's got the third quarter 2018 earnings call. I'm going to click on that, and it will actually show me a link to the webcast, which you can find over here, so you could actually listen to it yourself. I hate listening to earnings forecasts. It's such a slow process. I would like to show you another way to do it, and that involves actually just getting a transcript of the document. It's much easier to search in. It's much easier to get through very quickly because we can read a lot faster than we can listen. But this is one source of it, to go directly to the investor relations website. Sometimes they'll provide a transcript here. Sometimes they will just give you a link to the audio. It just depends on how forthcoming the company wants to be. Let me give you some detail on what actually this is, this earnings call. When the company releases financial statements, they will have senior level executives discuss the historical earnings performance, how well they did, what happened over the quarter. They will add color to their operational performance. And at the end, they will typically take questions from analysts. Sell-side analysts on Wall Street will ask them questions about their results. This is a little bit of an interesting process because the people asking the questions want to be as friendly as possible because the executives are going to call on particular people, and the analysts want their questions answered. They want to basically get back on the earnings call and be able to access management. So the questions are a little bit of a friendly nature, but sometimes they get a little testy. So going back to this, you can see that you can get things like the annual report. You can get the latest quarterly statement, the annual report as well. But I really like the presentations. So what I'd like to do is just focus on more events. And what you can see here is that they've got the presentation that they went over when they were discussing their earnings results. So let's take a look at that. And I'm going to blow it up a little bit. With most web browsers, you can hit Control+ and zoom in. This gives you not only the history of Dunkin' Brands, but also information about where they're operating, about the particular segments. You can see that Dunkin' has 9,000 stores in the US, 5 billion cups of Dunkin' served. They will go over their strategy, their mission, how they expect to achieve better financial performance and grow revenue. So I'm just showing you a little bit of this, but what you want to do is try and figure out what the drivers are going to be for financial performance. Dunkin' is one I like to talk about because they're very explicit. They talk about how they want to have 1,000 net new restaurants by the end of 2020, and they want to have 90% of them outside of the traditional market in which they've operated, which is that Northeast market. I'm not going to go over all of this, but hopefully you will pick a company and analyze that will provide you with so much information just like this one does. So that's source number one. You can get earnings call transcripts where the management discusses earnings. You can get investor presentations. You can get lots of information from the investor relations website, particularly if the company wants to be forthcoming. Now let's talk about another way to get information, and that's through Capital IQ. I'm going to pull up Dunkin' by typing the ticker symbol DNKN. And what this allows me to do is scroll down over here on the left. I need to blow it up a little bit. And on the left, what you can see is that it's got, under news, events, and filings, a lot of information. One of the things that it has is transcripts. And what you can see here, and I'm going to try and highlight this one. This is that third quarter earnings call. And you can get it in a variety of formats. If you want to download the presentation, you can click on this icon. If you want to hear it, you can play the audio with this icon. If you want to get a transcript as a PDF document, which is my preferred route, you can click on that and it will give you the transcript very quickly, and it will talk about what they discussed. Here you can see the call participants. You can see the date associated with it. It was on October 25th, 2018. It starts off with an operator, then goes to the Director of Investor Relations, the CEO, and one of the directors talks. And then ultimately, they're going to take questions. You can see here are a couple of questions, one from Stevens in the research division. They took questions from an analyst at Bank of America Merrill Lynch. And again, I don't want to delve into the details. I just want to show you how you can find out more information about the company. If you're looking for the key drivers of financial performance, look at this transcript. This is what the analysts are actually going to be asking about. They're going to be asking about the key items that are going to allow them to model the corporate performance for this company so they can better understand and measure the intrinsic value of the stock. So let me go back a little bit and tell you that they have analyst investor days. It's not just earnings calls. They may go to a conference. They may have a special call, and you can get those transcripts associated with that. So that's really valuable. Let me show you some other sources of information. They've got the SEC filings. Again, look over here on the left. They've got the events calendar, when they're expected to release earnings. And we'll see what the estimate is. So on February 4th, 2019, Dunkin' is actually expected to release this. And this is derived by Capital IQ based on the past release of financial information for this particular company. So you can get a lot of information about the historical performance. And it's not just the income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow statements. You need to get the color in order to figure out what the drivers are. And one of the key drivers of Dunkin' Brands is the opening of new stores. They are trying to open and spread across the country, open 1,000 new stores, and that is a very aggressive growth plan. So I hope that you will utilize that investor relations website. Also utilize the links under news, events, and filings in Capital IQ to better understand the corporate performance.